Right, last but not least, I hope. But anyway, so I'm going to be talking a very important question. Can AI replace information specialists? So we're going to start to look to the future. But before we look at the future, I want to argue my case by looking at the past and how IT has impacted on my career journey thus far, which is quite a long career journey, given my age. So I did my undergraduate degree in human ecology, which you probably don't know what it is. It's like environmental health, but is the quickest way to describe it. And it was a 4-year degree with a sandwich. So I did a work experience for 1 year. And at that time, when I used the library, there was still, believe it or not, brown card index system. There was Index Medicus, a paper version. This was the equivalent of PubMed now. It was a paper version that was bound. And if I wanted a journal article, I had to go and find it and read it. Or if I was feeling very rich, photocopy it, which was very rare. So I also, at the beginning of my degree, was writing my essays written, or some people had the privilege of a typewriter. But towards the end of my degree, things had moved on quite a lot, and we used WordStar, which is like Word, but you don't use a mouse, so you have to learn command language, which sort of helps if you want to, become a librarian, I suppose. So things have really moved on quite quickly during this time. So it was a big deal. We used to queue for computers to go and be able to write up our dissertations and essays. And as I said, it was a sandwich degree, and it did have a health component to the degree. So I saw this advertised for a sandwich placement as a health information officer, whatever that means. And it was for an NHS trust. And so I did this sandwich placement from 1992 to 1993. I really enjoyed it. We were answering the phone to the public. They would ask us anything in the world about health. They didn't have the internet then, so we were very useful. Although it would still be useful, to be honest, because the internet's not everything. And we had loads of filing cabinets full of NHS leaflets, which would obviously now be on the internet or that NHS website. And we also had articles on particular diseases or conditions. And we were very novel in that we had a database. And it was a database of self-help groups. So I think this has been replaced by social media. And so if somebody rang up and said that they had just been diagnosed with Perthes disease, for example, we could look it up, find out if there was a self-help group where they could go and meet in a church or wherever the self-help group met. And this was really unique, and forward-thinking at the time. So I think it's a shame if we don't have them, actually, because social media doesn't replace it completely, does it? Another part of my job was to give out condoms in a teenage health clinic. And we actually got in the news, which was very exciting, in the Sunday Mirror, because I didn't give out the pill, I only gave out condoms and played Neighbours on a TV for them while they're waiting in the waiting room. But we had lots of nervous teenagers come to the clinic. They could come with anything. It could be acne or any sort of teenage worry, about puberty or what have you. But what got in the news that we were giving the pill out to these 14-plus-year-olds, I don't think it would make news nowadays, but it did then. So after my degree, I did one of those graduate traineeships that people have talked about. It was advertised on a Wednesday, which was Worthy Day, was Wednesday in The Guardian. And it was sort of worthy jobs. And I wanted to do something worthy because I was young and naive. And so now I'm just naive. So I did this job for a year, and then the expectation was that I would then go on to do an MSc. And this job involved reading the newspapers, basically. So every day I had to read every single newspaper that there is. So from the Sun, the Daily Telegraph, Financial Times, Morning Star, all the newspapers. And then I had to cut out stories, put them into a newsletter that I photocopied, great big, I don't know how many, loads of them, copies I made. So it would be any story about health and safety at work or trade union issues. And then I would give it was in London, and I would give out these newsletters to MPs who needed to keep abreast of what was happening in the world but didn't have time to read all the newspapers, basically. And we kept a database of this archive of all these newspaper clippings and kept them in filing cabinets. But obviously that's been replaced. Nexus Lexis or whatever it's called nowadays, or other databases. Then I went on dutifully to do my MSc, and I did it in information management in 95 to 96. This was a really exciting time. One of our assignments was to send an email to somebody in America who was also doing a librarianship course. And that was it. So I passed that one. So that was quite easy. But it was new. It was my first email. So, and these were the components of the MSc. And one of my fellow students did her dissertation on what was the most useful components of the MSc. And up the top was database design. For this, we had to design a access database, basically, which I think is still be quite useful today. It's not that off skill. Computer skills sounds very good, but in actual fact, it was like quite basic for now. We'd learn Word, we'd learn PowerPoint, we'd learn Excel, that sort of stuff. And we did internet and hypertext markup language. And online searching, we did do a lot on online searching and information skills, but this was dial-up services such as Dialog, Datastar, STN, that sort of stuff. So I guess that will have moved on since then, but still, I don't think it was that shockingly different to probably what they do today. So then I graduated. I thought, better get a job. So I found a job in London again as a hospital librarian for an NHS hospital, which I think the only claim to fame is that Jerry Halliwell was admitted, and that was very exciting. So at the time, Spice Girls were really big, just to give you an idea of the time era. And at this time, it was a very exciting time, apart from that, because technology was moving very fast. So I was in charge of CD-ROMs and had to load them up on the CD-ROM tower, but it was just for the library. You had to still come to the library to access the CDs, even though they were on a network of lots of computers in the library. And we still used fax machines for interlibrary loans that we did with other libraries. We helped out by sending them. We had an agreement, and we still had lots of photocopiers. It was still that sort of era. But PubMed came about, and that was really exciting. Apart from everybody kept telling me I'd be out of a job any minute because PubMed was going to be so easy to search. You could even put just a sentence of what you wanted, and it would come back. And we're still not there, are we, really? So however much AI is trying to. So this is more about my time at the library. And that is actually me. So to prove that I did actually work, that's me in the library, in the inquiry office, working hard, as you can see. And we were quite innovative because we'd written our own web pages for the library, and we'd also created a database of the interlibrary loans that were ordered and the membership and obviously the books and other material. So after that, I then moved to public libraries, which was a different step. I don't think we've heard many people say about working in public libraries. All right, this was because of Tony Blair. He wanted every public computer in libraries to be free of charge access to the internet. It was called the People's Network. It was really revolutionary that everybody in the UK should have access to the internet for free. And we had to do it by the year 2000. So my job was an IT public librarian. Now I had these libraries, I worked in 2 public libraries, they didn't have any IT. It was literally an OPAX type IT. And so I was setting up these networks of computers, setting up the CD-ROM drives, but also giving access to the internet, teaching the public how to use the internet, because it was all very exciting and very new. So yeah, it was a very exciting time to be in. Very fast moving, I think, and people get frightened now about what's happening with AI. But I've personally lived through both, and I feel that this was much more fast moving, because all of a sudden we had all this information that we never had before. And, you know, you can't imagine now how it, going from paper to internet, what a big change that was. So after that, as with some other people in the room, I worked at CRD. I decided that I wanted to move away from London, basically, because I couldn't afford to live there. And I went to York, which is a lot cheaper, believe it or not, even though it's horrendously expensive. And for 8 years, I was doing lots of searching. We had Silver Platter then, but we still had EndNote. We had the National Research Register. It's just been superseded sort of by other stuff, really. But we had a bit of online searching, but I didn't do very much, to be honest with you. The Dialogue, DataStar and STN. It was only occasionally when you got a topic that we couldn't answer by the CD-ROMs that we had. This is the first publication. It was for NICE, when NICE had just emerged in 1999, and Julie Glanville decided to give me the task of searching, because she felt everybody else was too experienced, because this was going to be shorter searching, and they might find it frustrating, but that's the reason she gave anyway. So this was a HTA report, and these are my search strategies. And I feel that they haven't moved on that far. This is 1999, remember? So quite a long time ago. It's not that different to what I would do now, apart from it would be on Ovid, Medline, because that's what I've got access to. And Science Citation Index, it would be on Web of Science. But, you know, and that's a central search. So I don't think after a period of much movement, I felt like it was getting more steady and we were doing similar things to what we are doing now. During that 8 years, I purposefully tried to publish some research on what I was doing and tried to sort of like evaluate the work that we were doing. And that was to try and get myself a fellowship, an NIH or MRC fellowship. I applied for both. It was a really tricky time, though, because when I came to my boss, the director, and said I want to do a PhD, he was like, you're not a researcher, you're an information person. Your support staff, you're on a support grade. And that was the type, and we can't find you supervisors. Nobody else with information has done PhDs, so you won't be able to get a supervisor help or what have you. And you need more publications. So I got the publications just by working in my own time, and I applied for the fellowship using people from health sciences. And I went to Trevor Sheldon, who was magnificent. He said, you know, don't worry about being an information specialist. You are unique, because at the time I was, and obviously still, you know, other ways. But yeah, he said, don't worry about that. We're going to use it as a strength, that you're going to break barriers, that you're going to, pave the way for other people to do PhDs in information science. And that really, was really great for me, because I'd got so many knockbacks from so many other people that I spoke to. And amazingly, despite, it being quite competitive, I got the fellowship and I did my PhD. Originally, it was going to be 3 years full-time. However, I had 2 babies and went part-time. So it took a little bit longer. I got the bug for research, loved it. So found actually applying for the fellowship was actually worse than actually doing the PhD. So the PhD was a breeze after like the fighting that I had to do to get the fellowship. So I then applied to do another fellowship. I thought, well, there's all these different sources coming out here, like social media, clinical study reports. I want to know how to search them and what's the best way to use them. So I did a postdoctoral fellowship. This one was with the NIHR. And since then, I've worked on lots of stuff, doing lots of reviews mostly, some stuff looking at methodology, and I've been working with using natural language programming to access social media and looking at lots and lots of records with colleagues in Cedars-Sinai, which is in Los Angeles. So yeah, lots and lots of different things that I'm now doing. But the searching, I wouldn't say I've massively, on a day-to-day basis, changed massively since 1999. We've got all the ISSG filters and all that sort of lovely stuff. But on a day-to-day level, I've not changed. But what do I think is going to happen? Let's look to the future. Well, have you all heard of the 2-week systematic review? So this is the idea that automation is going to make it so that we can do a systematic review in 2 weeks, same quality. And there's a company now in France who say they can do it in 48 hours, same quality. Right, because, you know, AI is so wonderful. That's what's going to happen. Right, I think we should step back, think about quality. And I'm going to quote Doug Altman, who 30 years ago said we need less research, better research, and research done for the right reasons. And he was absolutely right. It's not about churning out quicker, faster, systematic reviews, loads of them. It should be about quality. And others have agreed with him. There's some more information there. So, and we've got this exponential increase of systematic reviews, but we need to think about quality before we just embrace AI. Where AI might help, this is smartsearch.org. There's other stuff out there which tries to help you select your relevant databases. Well, for me, that doesn't take me very long at all. It's like 10, 15 minutes, isn't it? I've got a list of the ones that we've got access to. I know the ones that are free. It doesn't take me very long. I don't think this is going to do me out of a job. I'm not worried. So the other thing that's coming out, and we've had a little bit about this today as well, about megadatabases such as OpenAlex, is that there's going to be this one-stop shop. So we don't need to choose our database. We just search one database. And there's lots of them. Lens.org's been mentioned as well today. And these contain millions and millions of records. So great stuff. Maybe we can just search one database. So that'll save us time. There's been an evaluation of OpenAlex, which its results weren't quite the same as the ones presented today. But this was a prospective study, not a retrospective study. I think that's the major difference. So again, for 3 systematic reviews, they found that OpenAlex contained the records, but for the search strategy that they were information specialists, so, that for the search strategy that they employed, they couldn't find a large proportion of the records. And that's because otherwise they would have had to sift millions of records or whatever it was. And OpenAlex doesn't include everything. I'm not just picking on OpenAlex. They've all got downsides. So what have we got? We've got other AI says, well, okay, you can't search these databases to find all the relevant stuff, but all the relevant stuff is there. Let's help you. So we've got things like Elicit, and I've subscribed to Elicit. I do have to pay, but it's about £500 a year. And it says that it's going to search for you, and it's brilliant. And it says it's got 96% recall. So this is an example. I can put my question in, and it gives me a summary paragraph that's referenced. And then for each of the references, it gives me an abstract summary that it has compiled itself. So sounds great, doesn't it? And you can even ask it. So I was doing an umbrella review, so I asked it if there was systematic reviews on the topic, and it did understand that. There's similar ones like Undermine, but I don't have subscription to them. So, but for free, you can do it, but it just blanks out the occasional one just to tell you that you need to pay. So I've tested these, but I haven't published. on the sort of percentage that they're finding of the number of includes that I've had in systematic reviews. It's around 30%. So I'm still not worried. So, it's not going to be me. And then this publication last year, they actually did a formal look at the recall of the illicit and size space, and found that conventional methods, traditional searching, was better. Although they did say that it could be an addition. So this is creating more work for us. We've got another place to search. So another way that you could maybe use AI is to create your search strings. Let's forget about, we're going to just give it the question. We're going to ask it to create our search strings instead. So researchers indicated that the best way to do this is a series of steps where you're literally saying, this is my question, what is the P, what is the I, what is the C, what is the O for the PICO? And then you say, for the P, what are the terms that you would use? And for, I think, oh gosh, by the time I've done all that, I might as well do the search myself. And it comes up with errors, unfortunately. It hallucinates mesh still. And particularly outside of PubMed, it seems to fare worse for other databases. So I thought, well, maybe it could check your search strategy for errors. There's been research on this, and it actually often gives you incorrect revisions. Sometimes the revisions are good, but that means you've got to be an expert searcher to know whether the revisions are correct or not. So I'm still not quivering in my boots here. So, and that was better than a one prompt. So we've also got our classifiers, in a way that impacts on searching, because maybe we don't need those search filters anymore that that take ages. Has anybody created a search filter before? They're hard work, aren't they? So maybe there's these wonderful classifiers, and the RCT classifier I think works quite well, to be fair, and it's been tested and validated quite well. So you can just tick a box in confidence and it will mark up those that are most probably RCTs. So that works quite well. So I'll give it that. So there have been work to do classifiers for non-RCT studies though, and in particular the one on diagnostic test accuracy. They had an open competition. So IT people do this all the time, don't they? I work with people who, they have these competitions where they give you records and then you've got to work out the best classifier or the best machine learning process to separate them, and it's a competition, and they can win a prize. So 1,429 teams entered this competition. So this is IT experts, and the top three classifiers had poor precision and poor recall. So maybe it's harder for, I'm not an IT person, but maybe it's harder to find things that we find harder as well. I don't think RCT filters, you look at them, they're quite simple comparatively to other filters. So I think there are helpful tools out there that can save us a bit of time. They don't always save us time though. So citation searcher Chase has been mentioned before by NICE, I think, and that's something I do use. I'm not sure that it saves much time for the reference checking, because that doesn't actually take that long because you're reading the paper anyway, because I do reviewing as well, so I know that I check the references as I read a paper anyway, and I'm reading it anyway because I have to data extract and quality assess it. So we've got deduplication tools, and work by Clark suggests that they actually decrease the time for a novice searcher. For an expert searcher, is the same amount of time whether they use the AI or they just use EndNote doing the funny changes that you do on it. So so there's potential there, but I don't think expert searchers need to worry. Retraction alerts I like. That's just where EndNote tells you which articles have been retracted. It's only a minor thing, but it saves a little bit of time. It saves me going on to Retraction Watch, and the creation of flow diagrams. But again, if you've got an old flow diagram, you can just edit it, can't you? So overall, I don't think I'm going to worry too much. And this is a summary of research that's been published on AI and whether it's promising throughout the systematic review process. And you can see if there's more blobs in the non-promising, then the more research has concluded that it's non-promising. And for searching, I think it quite clearly shows a lot of studies have found it to be non-promising. Whereas screening and data extraction is shown mostly to be promising. And we pay for Elicit, but the reason we pay for Elicit is for the data extraction. It's not for the searching, because I'm not impressed with the searching at all. But the data extraction is really good. For us, it replaces a human, because we would then only have one human check it rather than have two humans on it. Screening, it can, we use confidence and we have the hierarchy. It helps a bit, but I don't think it saves masses of time. But yeah, so I don't think the searchers need to be worried. I'd be more worried if my job was just screening and data extraction, which it isn't. Thank God. So I asked AI, in a traditional format, what do you think? Do you think information specialists can be replaced by you? And AI responded that AI has the potential to assist or complement the work of information specialists conducting searches for systematic reviews, but is unlikely to fully replace them due to the complexity and precision required in systematic review searches. And I agree with AI on this one. Completely agree. I tend to think of AI like a dishwasher. You have to load it up quite well for it to be able to wash those dishes. I still have to check the dishes before I put them into the cupboards. And sometimes I just wash the dishes myself. It's just easier, isn't it, than bending over and filling it up. So that's my conclusion. So thank you.
Dishwasher from now on. Do you have any questions for Sue why we have her trapped? Yes.
Okay. Hi there. If you could get AI to do a part of the process that you do in your day-to-day job, what would it be?
Probably would be the screening and data extraction, because they're the most boring. If it could help with the quality assessment, that would be good too. But that they are the dullest bits, to be fair. So I'm happy for it to take them. It just means, because we're meant to be doing rapid reviews, those funders that I showed you. Most, apart from Cochrane, I do rapid reviews mostly, which is 3 to 6 months. And what we find is that if we use Confidence and we use Elicit and what have you, we just end up doing a rapid systematic review rather than a rapid review. So, yeah.
Thank you.
But, yeah, it's nice that it gets rid of those bits. Well, not get rid of them, because we still have to screen, but it gets rid of the second person.
Catherine had her hand up. Oh.
Hi, we've been looking at Elicit. I work in an NHS library to summarise papers, but I was under the impression that copyright law prevented us from uploading full-text papers to tools like Elicit.
I'm uploading PDFs all the time. I can upload up to 1,200 with my subscription. Sorry, I can load up to 1,200, and that's what you're meant to do, so I do it. Otherwise it'd be useless with Elicit. I don't know how it could work if it didn't let you upload the PDFs. I know that some of them are trying to make it so that PDFs can't be read. There's some journal articles that are trying to do that so that it can't be read by AI. But at the moment, it's got the facilities.
I know you can, but I'm
yeah.
sure we had some presentations by various publishers that say they don't license our content for use in any AI tools. So we were under the impression that we couldn't do it.
Oh, right. It might be that you're not meant to, but we do it all the time. So, and I'll pretend I didn't hear that. So,
We'll edit that in the record.
oh, well, thank you.
I won't. Tom, did you have one?
It's all right.
No, you're fine. I think Mark had one.
Thinking about the relevance ranking and confidence, a discussion theme that I've been having with some reviewers at my university is whether we'll reach the point with the relevance ranking where we feel comfortable not screening everything, but stopping when the relevance ranking has a certain confidence level. Do you do that? Do you screen everything or do you stop?
We do screen everything, but we might just have one person screening the last few records. But mostly, no, we don't rely on it completely, because have you seen James Thomas's curves, where he's done the S rather than... So it depends on the topic as well. If it's more defined topic, I think it works better. But if it's like public health interventions or something, I would screen them all, because it doesn't work as well as maybe if it was an RCT and a drug, you know. So I think it's topic dependent. But
Any more? Any more? Thank you very much.
thank you.